And welcome back, everyone. Welcome back to another week, another edition of ESL Open Cup Asia, number 224. I'm, of course, host Live VIP, and with me, I'm joined by these amazing players and by the people in the chat as well. Bienvenidos, everyone. Bienvenidos to another week of some Korean StarCraft, among some other regions as well. I'm happy to see the bracket filled up here with not just Koreans, but also with players from Southeast Asia, even from a single player from Europe as well. But we'll get there. We'll get there as we dive into our first series, because spawning in the top left-hand corner of Oceanborn, we have our Chinese Protoss player, the Blue Protoss, representing Team Offside. It is Firefly. Representing Offside Esports, and spawning in the bottom right hand corner, we have as opponent, we have the red Zerg player representing Berserker Esports. It is Smile. Here we go. Okay. Here we go. Now, this Smile, not to be confused with the Peruvian Smile, aka Fuego, the streamer, aka player as well. No, very different Smile from the land of Hong Kong, I believe, at least according to the ESL bracket. And I have not had the luxury of casting them. I'm not familiar with Smile, have not casted them before. I'm ready to see what they're made of, because, oh boy, they're up against Firefly of all players. Firefly quickly becoming a hot topic here, a hot player in the scene. Over the past couple of years, he has been improving so much. And nowadays, I would say he is the best Protoss in all of China. I would say top 2 player in general, alongside Oliveira. Arguably top 1. The regionals of ESL Asia, of EPT Spring, the regionals of EPT Spring have been ongoing over the past couple of weeks, and Firefly has been doing very well in those regionals, and I expect him to go even further. I expect him to go even further in that tournament. Yet to be determined. We'll see how the playoff bracket does play out. And Firefly, as always, poised to make a deep run in this week's ESL Open Cup, but we'll see how he compares to Smile. And of course, you can check out the bracket yourselves. We can go over the bracket after this series, and we can catch up on all the matches that are currently ongoing, all the players that are competing as well. There are some other English streams out there. I believe Wardy is also casting in English, and we have some other language streams like TKL, like Saber in Chinese, TKL, I believe, in French. So some other language casters are available if you want to catch another series. Otherwise, we can sink our teeth into this PvZ. Can sink our teeth into this PvZ. For now, Adept just going to be moving out, threatening a shade. Alas, Queens are in position, Lings are in position as well, and we should be able to keep up, we should be able to hold on, and the Adept is zoned away. So far, so good. Behind this, we're getting into our tech of choice. It was a standard opener out of Firefly, just a gate expand into a Cybercore, into a Stargate opener. We have our first unit, it's an Oracle. Now, as we get into our game, as we talk about our players, Firefly is a player that does thrive in the mid game. He's not the late game kind of player. He's not known for his late game. He's not about early game cheese, but in the mid game, he can be very aggressive, very assertive, and he can catch you off guard. You're going into double Stargate, into Skytoss, Mass Phoenix, Mass Oracle, going into a Twilight Council, into Glaive Adepts. There's just a lot on the table here for Firefly. He can be a very unpredictable player, and we have seen Firefly take down some big names in the past. Players like Raynor, players like, I want to say even Cyril as well in WTL. Firefly, he's an animal. he's an absolute animal, absolute beast. We'll see what he can do. We'll see what he brings out. But now the Lings, they do get across the map. They get a surround on the Adepts. Very nice surround. The Adepts are caught out the probe as well, and it looks like we could even try to force a cancel on that Nexus. The Oracle has to race home. The Oracle was halfway across the map, has to race home, and it will protect that base. But ooh, once again, the Lings, they almost catch another Adept. These are some very nice pickoffs here by Smile. To get 2 Adepts, to force in a warp in, to keep the Oracles back at home, very nicely done. But behind this, that is a fast Twilight Council. That is a very fast Twilight Council into very fast gateways as well. I'm curious, are we going into Glaive Adepts? I mentioned it before, that is an option. We could even go into, let's say we avoid, I mean, there is no Forge, we go into we can go into Blink, we can avoid +1 and go into a 3-base all-in. That is something that we've seen from Firefly in the past. Could be into Charge as well. I'm leaning towards Blink or Glaives. We'll see what it's going to be. As Zero Lord attempts to get a scout off, but last we see nothing. Blink is on the way, not Glaives. We have 4 gateways finishing up as we speak, and I'm waiting for a gateway explosion. I'm expecting more gateways. We'll see though. We'll see what Firefly does end up working with. As Lings, they get eyes on additional Stalker Warbins, not on Adepts. Back at him, Smile, joining up, saturating his third base, getting a little bit supply blocked after losing that Overlord, so a little bit unfortunate there, but overall should be able to stabilize. We have 4 Overlords on the way, 4th base as well. When it comes to our tech of choice, we have yet to really throw any down. As the Oracles dive into that mineral line, the Queens are able to keep up somewhat, minimizing losses. 1 drone gets picked off. Ooh, the Oracle's getting very low. Oh god! Getting very low. 1 Oracle goes down. Big pick off there by Smile. The other Oracle barely does escape, going for a stasis here into the main base, and we have a delayed reaction. Ooh. I say delayed reaction just in time, actually. Only 1 drone gets caught. Honestly, I'm really impressed. I'm really impressed here by Smile. I mentioned before that I haven't casted Smile before. I'm unfamiliar with them as a player, but so far, pretty impressive stuff. Behind this, Hydroden's on the way. Okay, it is going to be Ling Hydra here out of our Zerg player. Ling Hydra, I imagine, towards Lurker Tech. This is amazing against Blink Stalker. Speaking of, Blink is finishing up, and we're pushing in. Again, Blink is done sooner, or a little bit sooner than normal. It is done earlier than the norm. Ling trying to get us around. The Stalker should be able to blink away. Now, the scary thing here is that there are no Oracles. Usually, these Stalkers would have 2 Oracles to support them. The Oracles, they can Pulsar Beam down Lings, they can avoid surrounds, they can throw down Stasis Traps. Oracles are just an amazing utility unit here for Protoss. Without any Oracles, Firefly, he has to be careful, he has to back off. He has to respect those Lings. Behind this is taking his 4th base. +1 is on the way. We're taking up into Storm. Okay. Storm, there's the Gateway Explosion. But again, the Gateway Explosion was delayed here. Firefly did push out earlier on because of that earlier blink timing, but wasn't able to achieve too much. And now is stuck at home. And yeah, we have a pretty interesting back and forth here between our players. Pretty interesting back and forth so far. The Lings, they do come in. Oh, they are spotted by the Stalker. Good reactions here by Firefly, shaving off a lot of Lings. A lot of Lings are going to go down. Behind this, 4th base getting up and running. Smile is saturating, he's droning. Behind this, we do have an Infestation Bin on the way, so he's not going for a Ling Hydra max out. He is working with Ling Hydra, but he's working towards Hive as well. It's going to be for Hive Tech, it's going to be for, I imagine, Lurkers and Vipers. So Smile working towards a later game. Firefly pulling back, waiting for Storm. Now, this is the big scary moment here. There's a big power spike for Protoss because Storm is finishing, and what do we have to defend? Light units. Purely Lings, Hydras. Do we even have a Bailey Nest? We do not have a Bailey Nest at all, so just Ling Hydra. And this army, it melts against Storms. And how many High Templar do we have? 6. Oh boy. Soon to be 8. That's a lot of High Templar. Now, we could morph some of them into Archons, but that's going to be a lot of Storms available. 8 Storms in total. Firefly is building up, waiting for charge. Lings try to dive in. Once again, they are shaved up. Good positioning there by Firefly, good reaction as well. At the same time, just getting some revelations of Firefly is checking saturation, making sure that Smile is droning. There's that Hive on the way, there's the Lurker Den as well. We need Lurkers as soon as possible. Without Lurkers, how can we hold? How can we defend? The Lurkers are on the way. The Storms jump into the middle line. The Storms are throwing down 11, 13 drones go down. Ay, ay, ay. 13 workers to 2 High Templar. Pretty good damage. And we still have 4 more with the main army. Here we go. Firefly is pushing forward. The Lurker Den is still not quite done with throwing down some Sky Toss. We have 2 more Stargates. A Fleet Beacon on the way. The Sky Toss transition is upon us. And Firefly, he's dipping onto creep, but as he pushes onto creep, big Ling run by. Alright, Smile going for a big Ling counterattack, and can he get anything done? We do force a warp in, but Firefly is in position. Does reinforce, turns back around, cleans up the Lings. Now, even though these Lings didn't get a lot of damage done, and they didn't, right? They weren't able to achieve too much, they at least buy time. Ooh, big storm, oh my god, no! Massive storms. The Lings, they melt. They all go down, but it's worth it. They gave their lives here for the cause. The cause was the Lunker, Papi. Here we go. 10 Lurkers do finish up just in time for the push. So this push isn't as devastating as it otherwise would have been. We have Lurkers ready for this. We should be able to hold on, depending on the storms, depending on the engage. The Lurkers, they are in position. Big spine shots going off. shut down so many zealots here. Storms are looking okay. They do soften up those lurkers. Smiley's joined up to 75. Another wave of lurkers has completed. Again, Smile, he is holding on. He's able to hold on. Zealot Robot gets caught out as well. Now, what's scary here is that, yes, Smile, he's surviving. He's holding. He's holding his own. The problem right now, though, is... Ooh, another storm does connect, and as Firefly tries to rotate around. The problem here is Skytoss. Tempest. We're making 3 Tempests at a time, and lurkers, they may be good against ground toss, but against Skytoss, it's an entirely different story here. Without Vipers, without a Spire, Smile is in trouble. He's able to deal with what he's seeing, but what about what comes next? Lings, they attempt to go for runway. They do get eyes on the Tempest. Big scouts. Big moment here for Smile. Immediately, Spire. Spire gets thrown down. But again, this Spire is late. It's delayed. We already have 6 Tempests. We already have 6 Tempests. The Spire, we need time. We need to somehow buy some time here. Delay the push for as long as we can. For that Spire to finish. Tempest, they have arrived. Good revelation on the Lurkers. Lurkers, they're being zoned away. And Firefly pushes forward. He's maxed out. Catch the Oracle. Oracle does get picked up. You can see the Tempest just having some free reign on the army. They take down the Lurker. And Smile, he just now is coming up with some Vipers, but he needs time to actually gather up energy. Like trying to dive on the army. Another Storm does zone him away. And we had 6, now we're up to 8 Tempests. We're going for a Nidus across the map. I mean, the Protoss army is immobile. That is true. It's a very slow army. We can try to take advantage of that. See Smile trying to dance here with the Skytoss. Lurker goes down. Big spine shots on the ground army. Oh my god. That was 3 High Templar and an Archon going down. Very nicely done. Nidus does finish, but there's nothing within it. And here come those Vipers. But what can they do? We don't have anti-air. We yoink the Mothership and we barely get the kill. Mothership goes down. We have 4 Hydras. The Viper gets sniped. Corruptors are barely coming out in time. Just barely. And we can clean this up. The army gets caught out. Firefly, where were the reinforcements? Where was the ground army? We get 1, we get 2, we get 3. 1 Tempest escapes. 1 Tempest makes it back. Look at the unit tab here. We're down to 6, which is still a hefty amount of Tempest. That's a lot of High Templar. Jesus. It's gonna be a lot of Storm. Speaking of big Storm here. Oh no! Big Storm of the Corruptors, and we sit in it! Not like this. The Corruptors, they melt. Ay, ay, ay. It was a good defense by Smile. He had a good showing here, but he stands. He just sits in the storms. He gets cleaned up. And now Firefly has momentum. Suddenly, Firefly is looking terrifying. That was the 8 Corruptors killed. Not cheap. The Tempest going uncontested. The Corruptors that are left over, they're so low. We yoink 1 Tempest. Good pick up. Behind this, Firefly is on 84 workers, taking another base, taking a 5th base, and Smile is stuck on 4. Firefly, he's up at Nexus. He's double expanding, taking another base. Firefly with his map control. Able to just snowball out of control with his economy. It's getting out of hand. Again, Smile trading with the main army is not good enough. Not anymore. We have to get some economic damage done. The Smile stuck on 4 bases. He can barely remax. Can barely rebuild. And more Tempest shots going off. Storm on the Hydras. And the Tempest just having their way with this army. These are 0-0 Corruptors as well. No air upgrades. Dive on the army. Big Storm. And Firefly, he can stand and fight. He can clean this up, and he will. Cleans up the Lurkers. GG against Cold, and Firefly will take game number 1. GG. GG, well played. Firefly does take the first game, But I'm not gonna lie, I was very impressed. I was very impressed by Smile. I mentioned before that I'm unfamiliar with him, right? It's like we cast here on a weekly basis. We cast every single day. We're typically very familiar with our own region. But Smile, this Zerg player from Hong Kong, is a player that I've not quite been able to cast before. So yeah, I'm pretty impressed. Did take a loss here in game 1, but was able to hold his own for quite some time. Had his own moments where he was able to shine as well. Again, I was especially very impressed with how he was able to be patient and tech up. Smile, I think that's maybe the best aspect of his play that we were able to see in that last game, was his patience, right? Was upon recognizing what was happening, recognizing that he needed to buy time for Lurkers, buy time for the Spire, buy time for Corruptors, for the Hive Tech, for Vipers, was able to just do such a great job at able to slow down his opponent and able to just ease his way back into getting into that higher form of tech. Eventually he was overwhelmed and did take a rough fight later on with all those storms, with losing his Corruptors, but overall, I was impressed. GG. GG, well played, and now we're getting into game number 2. And spawning in the top left-hand corner of Golden Aura, we have our Chinese Protoss player. The blue Protoss representing Offside, the favored player in this series, but not having the easiest time in game 1. It is Firefly. And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner, we have as opponent, we have the red Zerg player representing Berserker Esports. Down to the series, can he bounce back? It is Smile. Here we go. You can see Firefly immediately getting across the map, forcing the unnatural natural out of Smile, forcing him to expand elsewhere as we ease into our openers. Nothing crazy, no proxies out of Firefly, no cheese. Standard openers for the time being, as there's no early gases from Smile either. Just catching up the chat. See, I just watched his beat. His what? His beat. Oh, okay. I'm happy that we were able to clarify that in the chat for everyone else. Beautiful. That's great. Strong Zerg lineup. There are some pretty good solid Zerg players this week, as there were last week as well. We'll get into it. After this series, we'll be able to have a look at have a gander at the brackets, and we'll go over the players. We'll go over the matchups. We can compare it to last week's as well. We'll get there. We'll get there. She was signed up. Easy way to be able to brag that I made top 32 of ESL Korea. Yeah, ESL Open Cup Asia is usually a little bit slimmer when it comes to signups. It has the quantity is lower compared to Americas and Europe, but the quality is higher. That's the reality of it. It's like ESL Asia, like you don't have the quantity, but you got the quality, Bappy. Oh my god, you have some insane matches early on, where you can have some GSL finalists or some of the best players in the world facing off in the round of 16 of all things. So it's very cutthroat, a very cutthroat tournament. And even here, like I wasn't really expecting much out of this series, but again, I was pleasantly surprised here by the quality of game number 1, and now my expectations are even higher for game number 2. But now Stargate opener from Firefly is going for a Stargate, is going to be getting into, I imagine, Oracles once again, and we'll see how Smile does adjust in this series. Remember last game, he skipped his Bailey Nest, he skipped his Roach Warren. Smile did go into a faster lair, and he went Ling Hydra. Smile did end up going Ling Hydra in the mid game. We'll see if he does adjust here, depending on what Firefly does as well. Adept is going to slip into the main base, getting one Ling. So far, not bad. Not a bad pick of one Ling, does get the hell out of there. Joining forces with the second Adept, and the Oracle is on the way. Oh, and Firefly is setting up a proxy location. Interesting. We may go for a Twilight Council before third base. We may just skip the third entirely and go for a 2-base all-in. That's what I'm feeling here from Firefly. Especially if Firefly believes that his opponent is going to skip the Roach Warren, this could be killer. This could be it. And speaking of, there it is. Ling Speed kicks in, we can shut down both Adepts, but there's the Twilight Council that we spoke about. No third base, we're throwing down the Twilight Council, proxy gateway across the map. It's going to be a 2-base all-in. And if Smile does not throw down either a Roach Warren or a Bailey Nest, if Smile doesn't realize what's going on, He's in a lot of trouble. Is in a lot of danger. There we go. More gateways being thrown down as we speak. That's going to be 6 gates in total. We may as well go up to 8. Oh boy. Proxies being set up. I imagine this is going to be glaives. That would make the most sense here. We're on 2 gases. Yep, there we go. Glaive Adepts is on the way. Makes sense. So very, very committed play here out of Firefly. Oracle gets in. This time we get 3 drone kills. If you remember in game 1, the Oracles struggled to get worker damage. This time, 4 drones. We get the hell out of there. Pretty good stuff there by Firefly. Much better damage this time. Back at home, we have additional pylons here to make sure we don't get supply blocked. Back at home, we have 4 gateways. The 5th gateway is proxied. We have not gone up to 6. Not yet. Not quite. And the Adepts, they're coming. They're amassing here outside of the base. Outside of the main bases of Smile. Back at home, we do have a Baneling Nest on the way. Thankfully, Smile, I mean, he sees no third. He does confirm with his Lings there is no third base. That is very suspect. Something is wrong. He throws down a Baneling Nest, but is it going to be enough? So Adepts, they have arrived. They threaten the shade towards the main base. Lings are keeping up for the most part. Well, we don't commit. Yeah, we're waiting for another warp in. Waiting for reinforcements. Ooh, Firefly supply blocked. Uh-oh. That's a big supply block. We missed a warp in. Did miss a warp in. Now we're going for the expansion. Now we're going for the Nexus. Ay, ay, ay. As Firefly finally does break free from that supply block, does threaten with more Adepts. But so far, this has not been worth it. So far, Smile keeping up with the Shades. You know, Firefly comes across some of these Banelings, does focus them down. Oh, but he's too close. The surround. We engulf the army. Banelings, they connect as well. We shut down a good half, a good chunk of those Adepts. And Smile's now going for his counterattack. Now, what is concerning is that Smile cut workers very early on. He's on 36 drones. He's down in economy. And now we have a counter all in. The turns have tabled now. Firefly, now he's in trouble instead. It's going to be a Ling Bane all in from Smile. But Firefly, he has force fields. He has sentries. And he's throwing down a wall. A very good game sense. Firefly realizes how much trouble he's in. Does throw down the wall. Smile does rotate around towards the right-hand side. Shows the force fields. So far, so good. Banelings, oh, they're just completely zoned away. Banelings will not connect, but the Lings are doing a lot of damage. They're putting in some work. Shut down some of the Adepts. They get on top of the sentries. Overcharge is popped. But it looks like Smile may barely have enough. Takes down the shield battery. But we're running out of Lings. We're running out of steam. And Lings are being cleaned up. The third base, it stands strong. We killed 2 probes, only 2 workers. And now Smile's behind. Now Smile, he is behind. He's down to 40 workers. Throws down a Roach Warren, making more Lings. Going for another Bane bust. The pressure is on. Now, this is a little bit cavalier of Firefly. It's a little bit ambitious. He's assuming that the aggression has ended and he's moving out with the Adepts. But he does spot the Lings. He does spot them. So he's going to be turning back home. Behind this, the Bay is done. We're getting into Disruptor production. Lings, they hit the third. They try to at least, but yeah, Firefly does hold strong. And behind this, Smile, he's desperately droning. He's desperately trying to drone up. He's on 45 workers against the 67 probes of Firefly. Firefly, he's fully saturated on 3 bases. He has a booming economy. And that's soon going to be translating here into an army. Blink, still not halfway done. I imagine we're going to be waiting for a Blink before we push. Waiting for Blink, waiting for Disruptors, maybe some Colossi thereafter. Lings, they do find the proxy. They will shut it down. Across the map, we're going for some Disruptor drops. Show us the Novas. Oh, warping speed has kicked in. We go for the Novas. We go for the middle line. Ooh, big connections. 14 drones go down. And the Prism will escape. And just like that, Firefly does take an even bigger economic lead. Just making sure that Smile's economy stays crippled. Behind this, we have a Spire on the way. Interesting choice. I mean, there's potential with Mutas, but it's going to take so long for the Mutas to really come into play. We have 2 more drones. Firefly is getting up to 4 bases. We're still waiting for Blink. There we go. Blink is finishing. +1 is halfway done. We have Disruptors. I'm still waiting for Colossi. I feel like that'd be a really good way to round out this army. But Firefly is enjoying himself. Just going for non-stop drop play here. Getting some more drones. Ooh. Getting 5 more workers. Oh, is he paying attention? No! Firefly, a bit of miscontrol there, or a bit of a lapse in attention from Firefly. Will lose a Disruptor. Was a little bit needless. But here comes the main army. And here we go. Here comes the death march here of Firefly. The death ball of an army has arrived. Nova goes up. Ooh, connects with Banelings and with Roaches. And we just don't really have an army. Across the map, we're trying to go for a run by GG gets called, and Firefly will take the series 2-0, advancing on to the next round. GG. GG, well played. Congratulations here to Firefly as he does take the series 2-0, advancing on to the next round. And again, Firefly, he was the favorite player. He was meant to win this series, but a shout out to Smile. I shout out to Smile here because, again, I'm unfamiliar with him as a player. I wasn't able to cast him. I've never casted them before in our time here at the CranKy Ducklings, so I was pleasantly surprised, and yeah, he did hold his own, especially in Game 1. I feel like Game 1 was the best showcase for Smile. Game 2 was a little bit more shaky and a little bit more chaotic, but Game 1, Smile, he was able to keep up and hold his own and have his own good moments as well. GG, well played. Hope to see more of Smile in the future, but regardless, Firefly will advance on, and now we can go over the brackets. We have some catching up to do.